Coming up next, projections on job growth in the future, and then the most important thing you need to be talking about. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it starts now. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you're joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is about your purpose. And I can tell you this, you were created on purpose to contribute, to make a difference in this world. And we're going to focus on the difference that you were created to make in your work life. Because if you're on purpose in your work life, you're in that sweet spot, the intersection of what you do best, what you love to do most, and the results that matter most. I can tell you it's going to have a positive effect on your personal life. Purpose in your work and in your life are connected. And so that's the conversation that we have every day with you. 844-747-2577. You're watching live right now on YouTube. Now, you may be watching later, but for those of you that are watching live, 12:01 Eastern Standard Time, well, you can call right now. Madison is standing by, 844-747-2577. The other way to engage is to submit your chat question right there in the chat window next to the video. And so you can fire away on the keyboard. We try to get to 2 or 3 of those every show, make them short and sweet and to the point. And if it gets to a point where it's, I need some more information, I've challenged people in the chat room before to call in live, and they've done it. So know that if I need a little bit more information, sometimes the phone call is the best way to go. So we're very excited to have you with us. Please engage by giving us a thumbs up if you enjoy the program right down there below me. Subscribe and share if you feel like you have some friends and family that need this important message. This is, in fact, a conversation, a back and forth. I am part counselor, part coach, part cheerleader for you. So take advantage of it. So the job growth expected to slow sharply over the next decade, says the Labor Department. So when I see things like this, there's a part of me that kind of goes, I don't know if I want to share this. And then I say, well, I want to share it with some perspective. So this is a CNBC report, and this is from the Labor Department, just released. And it's saying that from the period of 2020 to 2029, so the next decade, that the economy is expected. Now, this is a key word, folks. These are forecasts. So, think about forecasts in general. Are they always right? No. Can they be wildly wrong? Yep. Can they have some validity to them? Yes. So the forecast is that the economy, the U.S. economy, will add a net of 6 million new jobs. So these are jobs that don't exist. This isn't hiring 6 million people. That's adding 6 million new jobs that essentially did not exist prior to 2020. So that's an annual growth rate of 0.4%. Now, that compares with 1.3% annual rate during the 2009 to 2019 period. So when you look at that, that is a sizable difference. That each year from 2009 to 2019, there was a 1.3% rate of adding new jobs. And so that's very interesting. Now, some of you are going, well, of course, Ken, COVID. No, these numbers do not take into account the impacts of the coronavirus. This is taking into account 2 interesting things. One, the aging workforce in America. These are baby boomers who are retiring, Gen X that will retire, so the top end of Gen X. And so you've got 2 things happening. One, aging workers and increase in technology. There's going to be a sharp increase in productivity due to technological changes. It's already happening. That will continue to happen. Technology does one thing, folks. It advances. And so as it advances, it will make a lot of job functions unnecessary. Now, it will also create other jobs. But the combination of the increased technological productivity and the aging workforce, you're going to see less and less jobs added. Okay? So understand that. Now, I share that with you and I say, okay, this is a forecast. And so I think it's important that when you look at things like this, you have to say, all right, am I in my 40s and 50s? And so over the next decade, I'm going to be in the older demographic, if you will, in the workforce. So how does this affect me? Well, it affects you in the sense that you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to make yourself tremendously valuable. As technology advances, are you advancing with it? I think that's the wake-up call here, just paying attention to this kind of stuff, to these trends, so that you don't get caught off guard. Now, the other thing you do with this information is don't read the tea leaves on something like this. This is a forecast, and don't assume that it's gospel truth, that it's going to happen that way. That's a forecast. You've got bureaucrats that are men and women like you who are flawed individuals. They're looking at data, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to go that way. You can never truly predict how an economy is going to speed up or slow down. You have sound economic fundamentals that you can look at, and you can look at trends, but don't get all scared when you see headlines like this. We've got to have another filter. So, good information. What's the relevance to you? That's why I share it. And if you're in your 40s and 50s or the next decade, you're going to have to be very much paying attention to how the job force and how the economy and the technology are all coming together to make sure that you're adapting with the changes. That's the big wake-up call. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Eric in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Eric, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Yeah. Hey, Ken.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm seeking career advice. I've heard you on Dave Ramsey's show, and I read some of your book, Proximity Principle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 37. I've served 14 years in the Army, and I'm looking for that next step. What do I do before I get out in the next 6 years?
Okay, so you have 6 years?
To go before I hit my retirement.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, first thing I want you to do is relax and take a deep breath. Let those shoulders, ease up a little bit, because you've got a 6-year runway. Most people don't get that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm serious about that. I want you to really be encouraged to go, Eric, you've got 6 years. That's what I want you telling yourself. Eric, you got 6 years, man, to get prepared for this. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun transition for you because you have so much time to prepare. So the question becomes, what's your heart tell you? And what I mean by that is when I ask you, what would you do if we fast forwarded 6 years from now and you walked out into something and you knew you couldn't fail and you were going to do something that maybe you've always wondered about? Or something that you love, the work itself, and the results of that work would make you feel so much satisfaction and significance. What would that be?
Well, as of now, it's hard to answer that because I don't have anything identified as a passion that I have things I like, but I haven't identified a passion.
Well, let's start with that, though. But you're kind of making the question more difficult than it is. So before I go deeper, I'm going to take one more stab at this. I want you to turn down your doubt. I want you to turn down your fear, and I want you to answer that question. What would you try? First thing that comes to mind, what would you try if you knew you couldn't fail? Didn't have to commit to it, by the way. What would you try?
I saw a few things. I've kind of thought like life coach or chiropractor.
Chiropractor? Tell me more about the why behind chiropractor.
Well, being in the Army, I've experienced back pain, so I would be able to help people understand their issues with their pain and be able to help fix their alignment issue.
Okay, good. So there many times passion comes out of pain, whether it be physical or emotional, right? So that's really interesting to me. What do you do best? You've got a career in the military, which, by the way, I forgot to say, shouldn't have forgotten. Thank you so much for your service. You are a great American. Thank you.
Thank you.
But what do you do best when it comes to work functions? If I interviewed everybody that you served alongside of, your superior officers, I said, tell me what Eric does best. Soft skills, hard skills, what would they say?
Well, pretty good with like admin things, keeping things organized, staying on point with certain things, and not getting disorganized. So I like to stay organized.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else?
Well, once I set my mind to something, I like to accomplish it and finish it, and I just don't want to just finish it. I like to complete it so it's a working product or a quality product.
So you're good at organization and execution. That's what I got out of those two things, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything else? What you do best? People skills, idea skills, process skills, things skills. What comes to mind? Things you do really well.
I'm very analytical. When I look at things, I analyze it. Just don't rush into it. Like to try to look at
good
the big picture, and then try to see what you can break down to make it a little easier.
All right.
Each part can do its piece.
Good. All right, so let's take that momentum we got right now. Now, Eric, your brain is flowing. Think about a task or a function that you really enjoy doing from your previous experience, current experience. Give me a task or a function. And when I say function, I mean it's like a role you're playing. So, or task. So, in looking at the list there, I'll bet you like to organize things. I bet you enjoy that. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I'll bet you enjoy executing on processes. Yes?
Yeah.
Are you more a process guy or a thing guy? Meaning, do you like working on or in processes, or do you like working on or in things?
I guess if you take like a spreadsheet, for example, there's a lot that goes into it, but at the same time, it has to make sense.
Yeah. So you're a process guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're good at process type work, and you enjoy process work. Do you see how that's coming together?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so when we think about mission, we're thinking about the results of your work that really matter to you. What are the results that you like to step back when you're done and you've looked at these results that you've created and you go, oh, that feels good?
I like to know that my work, that I contributed to it, actually made a difference, and the people that saw it or was able to read over it were able to understand it.
Right. See, you are taking information, you analyze information, you organize the information, you come up with a plan on how to execute based on that information. Am I still on the right track?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, so that's the work you love to do. And here's the good news. You're good at it. So now it comes down to the mission part. So we know what you're good at, talent. You use those organization skills, the execution skills, the analytical skills to analyze, organize, execute, right? And give order to something and make recommendations, put a report together. And the results that you love the results you love is giving that information that you have synthesized, organized, analyzed, and somebody takes that information and can make a really good decision, a positive decision that has great impact because of your role.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that in the workplace? Because that's the answer. What you want to do. Now, the chiropractor thing is very interesting to me, but to me, it doesn't line up necessarily unless you go, well, I do love, analyzing somebody's x-ray, analyzing their physical problem in their back, because I went and I know what to analyze because I'm an expert in the spine. And then the passion, would be that, in this situation, there's an actual manipulation, a physical manipulation, right, on somebody. You kind of go, here's what you need. Here's what we're going to do with this. Okay. Right. So I can make chiropractor work, but the result has got to be something you're passionate about, which is, you're attacking a problem from an analytical standpoint. You're going to help solve it with physical manipulation and other techniques that chiropractors can prescribe. And the end result is somebody's back the pain is gone and they're moving at their best efficiency. Because I think at the end of the day, you're a guy who's driven by efficiency. So the question is it organizational efficiency that you want to deliver, or is it back efficiency, the body's efficiency?
They're not. They're two different, right? You can't really mix them.
Yeah. Well, I can make the case, but I think for you, the work that you would really enjoy coming out of the military is truly what I would call a process person. So you're in a operations systems. So I don't know if it's systems, and it could be in technology, could be in warehousing and purchasing. You could go everything from logistics to purchasing to process development, true COO up the ladder one day. I think that's your jam. I think you enjoy that. And I think you're doing that all day long. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've also considered networking, but I haven't gotten a chance to really job shadow, because like I read in your book, if you want to do something,
I agree.
Work with that person and see if that's what you really
So
want to
here's
do.
your assignment. You got 6 years to find all the different career paths and job functions that would allow you to do what we just came up with, your sweet spot. I mean, you're going to use those organization and execution and analytical talents to do that type of work. There's total synergy there to be involved in efficiency and process work to deliver efficiency and great results and excellence. That's what you're about. So you can do that in multiple places. And so now it becomes, once I'm clear on all the different ways I could do that, so if it could be networking, and getting in the technology side, or whatever. The point is, once you identify that, all the different things, now you ask yourself, now you're clear. Stage 2 becomes getting qualified. What do I need to do to get qualified? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do? How much is it going to cost me? How long is it going to take? I'm pretty sure that everything you're going to identify that you want to do, you can easily get qualified for in less than 6 years. So that's your path forward. Use the proximity principle. Get around people that are doing what you think you're interested in. Get around people that are doing what you know you're interested in. And that's when the heart and the head finally align, because the head solves all the mysteries. Oh, this is what it's like, and this is what it takes to get there. And then the heart goes ding, 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 ding. And so that's how that works. Let's go to Houston, Texas next. Kelly joins us there. Kelly, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I am living the dream, Kelly. What's up?
Okay, so I am working as a legal assistant right now, and I really, really love the people I work with. I have an awesome boss, but I do not love the job, and I've been thinking about what I want to do next, and I've asked myself all the questions, and I've decided on going to nursing school. And my boss at this job, he retires at the end of this year. And I'm going to have to take a few prerequisites before I can get into nursing school that I didn't take in my first degree. And so I'll have like a year there where I need to continue working. Me and my husband are out of debt, but I want to save money so I can cash flow my college. So my question is, should I tell my next employer that I'm planning on only being there for a year and my future plans of going to nursing school, or should I just keep that to myself?
Keep it to yourself and do a great job and earn every nickel you can earn. Be a great teammate while you're there. Don't get distracted. Don't allow it to become, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't love this. No. Every day that you're there, you go, this is allowing me to contribute to my family budget. This is allowing me to cash flow my schooling. That gets me to the next thing, the thing. And so you look at that as, this is one of the most important bridges in my life, is this job. And you have an incredible attitude of gratitude towards that job, and you crush it. And then when it's time for you to go, you go. But you don't owe them that explanation right now. You're going to go do a good job for them. So go do a good job for them. And you never know the timeline. You never know if it's going to be a year. You hope it's a year. It may not be. And so you're not doing anything unethical. You're going in there and you're going to crush it. And we've had people come and go all the time at Ramsey Solutions that this was a station for them. And there's nothing wrong with the station. Using it as a station, as long as you are a good person, and you are, and you do a great job, and you will, get your head up. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Excited for you, Kelly. You got a great plan, and I am proud of you. I can see it, and you can too. She's going to do it, folks. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Richmond, Virginia. Travis is there. Travis, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, how's it going, Ken?
I'm living the dream, Travis. What's up?
My situation is a little unique. about 8 years ago, I graduated and got licensed as a physical therapy assistant, and have had a great career doing that. But over the past couple of years, a lot of insurance companies and Medicare changes have been decreasing reimbursement rates and kind of weeding us out. And so I'm trying to figure out how to take my skills and that to either pursue a different career or, maybe change the script completely. And I just really don't know where to start with that.
Well, sounds like you're giving me option A and B. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so which option do you want to, if you had total control over it and you could make it go the way you want it to go, which option would you take?
If I could make it go the way I wanted, I'd like to take, all the skills and things that I've learned doing this as a career, even though I feel like this position won't necessarily be a position that's around for much longer. I'd like to take those skills and do something else with it.
All right, so we want to transition.
I've gotten really good at it.
Yeah. Okay, so the answer is you want to transition to something completely different.
Yeah.
All right, and so that's the decision. But I think you're scared. Is that possible? So let's just shut fear down for a second. What is your fear telling you?
My fear is telling me that if I go a different route and branch off, that I won't be successful and that I won't be able to make an income doing what I would like to be doing. Is
there any truth to that at all?
I have no idea.
Why don't you have an idea?
Just because, I don't know, I guess it's a confidence issue. I've listened to your show and I've asked my wife and my parents and friends, what are things that I'm good at? And it always comes back to, the physical therapy type stuff.
And that's what you want to do? By the way, we've been dealing in generalities. What is the thing? Is it being a physical therapist?
No, because, going back to school to get a doctorate at this point is not in the
okay,
the realm.
But be specific. It's my fault. I didn't either I didn't hear it because you've been breaking up a little bit. So either I didn't hear it or you didn't tell me. What is the thing that you want to go after? Option B.
Potentially being like a health and wellness coach, something like that.
Okay, and did you tell me that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right, just want to make sure Joe, I got to make sure sometimes on my hearing, I'm not losing it there. Okay, so Madison's like, you may be getting old. Okay, so health and wellness coach. Okay, so the reason you're fearful is because you've not talked to any successful health and wellness coaches and asked them about their journey. Well, how'd you get here? How long did it take? How expensive was it? You understand that it's the same thing as a kid hearing a noise in the closet. And because they don't know what's in the closet and they won't get out of the bed and look in there, that's why they call us in there to go look. And you're afraid of something right now, but you're not quite sure why you're afraid. And you don't have a lot of confidence. The reason you don't have confidence is because you're just absolutely scared to death. You don't know what it actually takes to win as a health and wellness coach or something like that, which tells me, I think for you right now, you're in the get clear stage 1. I think you've got to actually use the proximity principle on the front end. You'll eventually come back to it in stage 3, which is get connected. But I think you got to get around some people that are in that health and wellness space and go, what does it actually look like for a coach? How many clients do they have to have? How much do they charge? So that you look at that and you can compare apples to apples. What do you make right now? What's your income?
Right now it's about 65.
Yeah, so you have to figure out what would it take to make $65,000. Don't you think that's kind of the first thing you need to figure out?
Yes.
So go figure that out. Travis, you got this. You're a smart guy. How many different ways in health and wellness? Let's call health and wellness a bucket, shall we? It's a field. It's an industry, correct?
Yeah.
You don't have to limit yourself to health and wellness coach. I just don't think that you have allowed yourself to look into it. And I think you need permission to look into it. And I'm giving you permission. You're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. There's a heart issue behind this. And that's what I want to know. Why are you interested in being a health and wellness professional? Let's just call it that.
The biggest reason would be, not just because I enjoy it, but I'm really good at, with the patients that I have now, I'm really good at helping them meet their goals that they have after injuries or, after, chronic issues that they have. I'm really good at helping them, and to a certain extent, I'm actually limited in how much I can do because I'm held to a licensure. I'm not allowed to give nutrition advice and things like that.
Right.
I'm really only allowed to do exercises. So almost to a point, I'm limited there. But because it's a current position that has, a licensure to it, there are some jobs. But like I said, one of the biggest reasons I'm looking to change is because those jobs are disappearing.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the health and wellness space, that's your homework assignment. What are all the positions? There's the coach. There can be health and wellness therapy. Are you want to get into nutritional therapy, nutritional coaching? Do you want to become a full-blown nutritionist? Do you want to be a combination of taking that physical side but combining the nutrition with it? I've got a good friend who just went into that full time. And they're doing both. They're doing not so much physical therapy, but they're doing things that help people with pain and their wellness. And they do a combination of letting the body exercise itself and heal itself plus nutrition. You know what I'm saying? So you've got to find your space. Now, if you come to the realization that the only way that you're really going to do this the way you want to do it is if you have your own practice, your own business, and you're coaching people, then that's going to be something you have to build up on the side. You see what I'm saying? Right. So you're going to have to hold down that day job and then build up your clientele on the side. And then you eventually replace it. So that may be your path, but I don't want you to limit yourself to that because that's a hard one and that's a scary one. In fact, that's the hardest path and the scariest path right there. Oh, geez, I gotta replace 65,000 basically on my own, one client at a time. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun, does it?
Right. Yeah.
So, but my point is, we're not going to do it. We're not going to put all that pressure on ourselves. If we have to, and it's a 3 to 5 year play, that's fine. But I wonder if you don't get in the field and see if you can take the qualifications you currently have, some of the education you currently have, and see if we can get you a full-time job close to the 65,000 in that nutrition health space and build a little bit more knowledge about which way you want to go. Here's the point. I think this is doable, Travis, but realistically, this is probably a 2 to 3 year play, maybe more. But don't be intimidated by that. I want you to hear this, folks. It took me 9 years to step into this position. 9 years. Is it worth it? You better freaking believe it's worth it. Okay? But you have to decide. You have to weigh the desired future, the dream itself, and what would it be like if I was there versus the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years of slogging it out. You've got to weigh those two. And when you do that, then you decide, oh, yeah, I think it's worth it. By the way, it is. But what Travis is dealing with is what we all deal with. Travis really represents all of us. Nothing wrong with Travis. Travis is a human. And we as humans, we look at something and we go, oh gosh, this would be so great. And we see the top of the mountain and the snow caps and the sun shining on it. And we hear the music. We go, oh, that's so great. I'd love that. And then we go, oh crap, I got to actually climb that thing. I don't know if I can climb it. I don't know if I could afford it. And then the doubt and the fear start to weigh in on us. And we lose sight of that future, that vision that I believe the God of the universe put in your heart. And then we get distracted by how long it's going to take and how hard it's going to be and how uncomfortable it's going to be. And people might criticize us and think we're crazy or whatever the narrative is in your head. And so what you've got to do is you've got to refocus on that mountaintop. And keep focused on that mountaintop till your heart gets to the point where it outweighs the head and it says, let's go. Let's go. All right, to the chat room we go. We got a lot to do here. Keep in mind, coming up here, I want to talk for just a few minutes on something that's really, really important, and that is the most important thing that you need to be talking about on this purposeful journey. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But first, New Beginnings writes in, I'm almost 30. I'm working to get my insurance license. I'm still living with my parents and want to move out. How do I know the right time to move out? If you are at home at the age of 30 and your parents are all good with it and you're there for a short-term reason, which is to get the insurance license, so maybe you're cutting all of your expenses and saving up money or you're totally focused on studying and so you're not working. And if it's short term, I'm totally down with that. No shame in your game there. The right time to move out is when you've accomplished the very thing that you moved in to do. And then I guess the caveat to that would be that's assuming that you have accomplished what you set out to accomplish and you can support yourself, which you can, and so it's time to move out. So that would be the answer. Why are you there? When you accomplish what you need to accomplish, move on. RX Tech, how do I explain why I've moved between multiple jobs to an interviewer without sounding flaky? Well, if they weren't flaky reasons, then you won't sound flaky. If they were flaky reasons, then you're going to come across as flaky. What I don't know here is are any of these things actually flaky? Because the reality is that an employer they're going to be nervous here. So let's call this out. If you've got a lot of moves on your resume, then they're going to look at that and they're going to ask questions. They should ask questions. Now, I want you to go to kencoleman.com and get my resume guide. It's one of our 3 Get Hired guides, and we walk you through that. And I believe in only putting relevant stuff on the resume, so that it creates this almost like a backup for you in this situation where you've got a lot of jobs where you've moved between. If you only put relevant information, and let's say some of those aren't really relevant to the job you're trying to get, then you don't put all that in there, and they go, well, you got a spotty history. You go, oh, well, that's because I listened to this Ken Coleman show, and he said only put in relevant information, relevant jobs. I can give you a full history, but I've been moving on purpose and making a lot of decisions and discovery, and probably moved a little bit more than I needed to. But the good news is I'm super clear, which is why I'm here now. I think that's the only way you can address that, okay? Address that concern. If you can't say it that way, then you're going to have to look at them and go, look, here's the deal. I know my work history doesn't show you this, but I'm telling you, I've got good references and you better provide them. I got good recommendations, you better provide them. And you better make a really strong pitch that you're here now and you're not going to job hop on them because you're really excited to be here to do this job that you're applying for. And any movement will be up because you've identified a ladder towards what you really want to do within this company. And I know I got to win this job now. And so I'm very serious about that. That has got to be your passionate plea. And you really got to have other people step up for you. That web of connections, to use that resume the right way. People calling that hiring manager and saying, hey, let me tell you about so-and-so. Let me tell you about so-and-so. And so if you drive that case home, then you're going to be okay. Or at least you give yourself the best chance of not coming across flaky. Now, little call out here. And I'm not saying that RX Tech has done this, but this is why sometimes you're going to have to sleep in the bed that you make, you know? You're going to have to go, you know what? I made a bad call here, but I've already left one position 3 months ago. If I leave this within 3 months, this could severely hamper me. So I may have to take my medicine a little bit and put in a year here. But what I need to do is get myself to a position where I'm being promoted and I've got a better position. And so I'm taking this experience. While it's not a great place and a great job, I don't want to come across like a flake. So I'm going to have to take my licks and get better and find a way to get better so that when I go for something else a little later, I can make the case, this is the next step up for me, not just jumping around, like some little video game character. So understand that sometimes we hurt ourselves by not dealing with our own decisions long enough to where we can make it an asset. Is it painful? Is it frustrating? Yes, but that's the deal. It's the lesson learned. But if you're hopping too quickly, just because you don't know, you don't have a plan, you're actually hurting yourself and hampering your ability to step into what you want to step into. So make sure that you are thinking through this. All right. Just for a few moments, and I'm just going to take a few moments here. I want to talk about this. I teased it at the top of the program. The most important thing that you can talk about. And this, and I don't know that I've ever shared a lesson on this show, or that I'll ever share a lesson on the show that I haven't personally learned or observed. And so this is right in line with everything else. Not everybody is wired the same, but I do think there are some people who are more open with what I'm about to talk about than others are open. And for those of you that are open to it, you're going to go, yep, Ken, and you're going to have about 7 or 8 examples right off the top of your head, probably in the last 6 months where you did this, and you go, hey, he's right. And then others are kind of like me where you don't do this enough. You do it some. Some of you don't ever do this. And that's talk about what you're struggling with. There are some of us that are just like, hey, I'm an open book. Here's what's going on. I need to talk to you about this. Others, we don't do it as much. And then some don't do it at all. And it's important, and I understand we talk about jobs and we talk about work and purpose in your career on this program. But one of the things you've got to understand is that you can be crystal clear on your purpose and what you're supposed to do with your life. And yet life happens. And you can be doing all of the right things and life happens. And you can be in a season where in your work life, everything's great. But in your personal life, you got a lot of unanswered questions, or maybe there's actual turmoil or pain. Then you flip that, right? Sometimes you can be in your personal life and everything's great. Everything's great on the home front. Everything's great. You're mentally great. You're emotionally great. You're in good health, all the things. And then just crap is happening at work. And you've got this, it's almost like confusion. Oh man, things are great here. Things are awful here. Right? And you're just like, I'm not sure what to feel. I got stress and pain and frustration and anxiety or whatever it is in one area of my life. And the other area of my life, things are going pretty good. And then the third scenario is things suck in both sides. There are times where we go through we're in a storm. And some of you right now are in a storm personally and professionally. It just feels like every which way you turn, it's a storm. And here's the deal. We're made for community. And so the most important thing you can talk about is what you're struggling with. You got to talk to somebody. Now, somebody for you looks different than somebody for me or the next person. But who are you talking to? If you're going through a time of struggle right now, don't try to do that on your own. There are seasons in which you can do it on your own. You can for a little while. And maybe that storm passes. But there are times in life where the storm is too big. You can't do it on your own. Because it's eventually going to come out and it's eventually going to have to be talked about. But don't put yourself in a position where you are just absolutely exhausted and broken, unable to go one more step further. As opposed to what I have found in my life, whether it be a frustration in parenting or at work or frustration in family, difficult people in a personal situation, whatever it is. And I've experienced all of it. Got to talk about it. Got to talk about it. You got to have somebody that you can sit down with and go, hey, I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling. Now, again, different levels here, whether or not you need a professional or just a personal contact. But I'm telling you, you are too important to this world. Your mission is so important that you can't allow something you're struggling with to knock you out. All because you wouldn't say, I'm struggling. I need help. With everything, Joe, everything for me basically comes back to a sports analogy. And I think about, football season, we're in the throes of it. And if you got a player on the team and that player is relied upon to fill a position, but in a particular play, there's an injury, what does that player do? Well, there's one of two things that player does. And we've seen this and heard this. Either that player decides to play hurt because the player don't want to pull himself off the field. And so the player decides to play hurt. And guess what? They get beat on a play because they had a bum leg and they didn't want to come out of the game. They didn't want to admit that they were hurt for whatever the reason. And the team gets hurt. The mission isn't fulfilled because they didn't pull themselves out and say, I'm hurt. I got to get better before I go back in. Not only do they hurt the team and the mission when they decide to try to play hurt, guess what else could happen? They make the injury worse and they prolong the pain. They prolong the problem by not saying, hey, you got to deal with this. You got to come off. Let us look at your leg. If we need to tape your ankle, we'll tape your ankle. If we got to give you a shot, we'll give you a shot. So, I think we get the message. You're too important to try to play hurt. Don't play hurt. Talk to somebody, get some help, and get back in the game. My time is almost up, but before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.